Would you love to have more influence in your leadership? Are there people in your life and business that you would love to see their behavior change? And you know that if it could, they would do much better in life. In this video, I want to point you in a direction of looking that may seem counterintuitive at first, but if you look, it'll likely help you have so much greater influence in people's lives and help them see things that changes the way the world looks to them. And because when they change the way the world looks to them, their behavior changes effortlessly, automatically, and permanently. Right? As human beings, when we live and work together, it's inevitable that we're going to bump into each other and step on each other's toes, both metaphorically and literally. And some of the ways this looks in my house is very strange things happen. The milk gets left out, the lights get left on, and nobody does it, right? I don't know if you have similar ghosts in your home and office, but we know it's not ghosts. We know somebody did it. But can we see the innocence in everyone, right? This is the direction I would invite you if you want to have more influence to look. It can be easy to get frustrated with people's behavior, especially when it creates conflict in our world with us or other employees. And it can be tempting to try to get them to change their behavior from the behavior. But if you've been in leadership very long, you know that's just not very effective. What works immensely more powerfully is to see their innocence. And this is made possible so much easier when you understand how humans work, when you understand the nature of the human mind. You see, all humans are living in separate realities. Those realities are made of thought, and every human being has the possibility or the capability of thinking their reality in different ways than it actually is. I'm going to share with you a little story in this video called The Cookie Thief to help portray what happens when we human beings with our separate realities bump into each other in unsuspecting ways. So there's a young woman traveling home for the holidays, and the airport was crowded, and she had a few hours before her flight, so she wanted to grab a snack. The aroma of fresh baked cookies was in the air, and so she purchased a bag of cookies for herself. She went over to her gate. It was quite crowded, but a kindly gentleman patted the seat next to him and offered the space to her. She took him up on it, got settled in, and then reached down to grab her first delicious cookie. No sooner had she finished the cookie than the gentleman reached into the very same bag and grabbed a cookie and ate it. She couldn't believe his brass boldness, but she didn't know what to do, so she didn't say anything other than grab another cookie and eat it. No sooner did she do that, he grabbed a second one and ate it too. She took a third, and he took a third. At this point, she's sort of shocked into silence and she's wondering if anybody can see how greedy this man is and how rude and inappropriate. This tit for tat cookie eating went back and forth for a few minutes until the last cookie. She thought to herself, there's no way he's going to take my last cookie. But no sooner had she thought that, the gentleman reached into the bag, sure enough, pulled out the last cookie, looks straight at her, smiles, breaks the cookie in half, hands her half of the cookie, and then walks off. She can't believe the balls of this old man and just sure he's going off to take advantage of some other young woman. Her plane gets called and she grabs her belongings and starts to make her way. And she realizes that her cookie bag is sitting right by her feet, right where she left it. You see, every one of us human beings have the possibility of seeing somebody else's cookie bag as ours. I mean, have you ever lost your keys? You sure you put your keys away and blamed somebody, for taking it, only to find them in your bag? Right? This is an example of when the world looks one way to us, we act accordingly. When, and then you find the bag and your keys, and then all of a sudden, okay, cool. Change the way the world looks, our behavior changes. Right? Human beings have a default setting. We are designed to do as well as we possibly can in every situation, given the way the world looks to us. And all human beings, all of our behavior is governed by the way the world looks to us. So if you want to have greater influence in your leadership, rather than focusing on the behavior of others, focus on seeing their innocence and get curious about the way the world looks to them. When you do, you're just naturally going to come from more love and understanding. You know, if you're frustrated with their behavior and you go to them to try to change the behavior, you can use punishment, reward, and bribing and all that kind of stuff, but it isn't as effective. I mean, I can't help but think this, you know, the kindly gentleman had more influence with this young woman by kindly sharing his bag of cookies, smiling at her, and even sharing the last cookie, right? Then if he would have slapped her hand and yelled at her, she would have been defensive and he would have been the bad guy, right? When we put ourselves in a position of seeing somebody's innocence and being curious about the way the world looks to them, our intuition as leaders takes over from there. We're going to be much more inclined to instinctively know what to say or do to help them see things differently in a common sense way for them. When that happens, the nature takes over. When they change the way they see the world, the behavior changes effortlessly, permanently, and automatically. So I invite you to just experiment with this week. Rather than focusing on changing people's behavior, focus on seeing their innocence and getting curious about the way things look to them. Let your intuition take over from there. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You could change someone's life for the better. Namaste.